It's good morning, Bernadette Schwerdt. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
It is exciting to have you here. You and I have been liaising on LinkedIn for years, and I finally get to have you on about your newest book, Secrets of the Online Entrepreneur. And we were just laughing because I feel like this is Yellow Shelf in some ways. So tell us all about the book.
Well, Joe, it's similar to what we were talking off online. This book is for Australian entrepreneurs and it's written by an Australian entrepreneur because, we got the books about America and the 370 million people over there, but Australians need something a little bit different, I think. And that's what I've tried to do here. So I've interviewed 40 of Australia's top online entrepreneurs about how they got started, what they did right, what they do differently. And I've tried to extract some of the real stories, not just the polished stories we hear and read in the newspapers and journals. It's what really went wrong. And also looking at what they needed to do to overcome that. What kind of person did they need to be to get through those difficult times? So that's kind of the gist of it all. And I've covered the big names of Luxury Escapes and Bondi Sands and Swiss and Airtasker, Janine Ellis from Boost Juice, and I've gone right down to just one person businesses as well, because I think in this current environment, some people do want to go big and scale, but others truly just want to have a side hustle on the side, making some money to pay for that trip to Bali or the second car. And I really wanted to honor those people as well.
And you know what? It's a book for people who are curious as they look into others who do this already. Because what I liked was, like you said, real stories, gritty in the sense that, yeah, you're hearing the good, the bad, the ugly, the persistence, overcoming the challenges. And it was incredibly relatable. I mean, it was relatable for me because I have a portion of my life online doing this, but the stories are interesting.
Yeah, I wrote the stories that I wanted to read, I guess, because I had a lot of content to play with. And I thought, if I was starting a business now, what would I need to know? About mental resilience. When you're posting and you're out on social media, you've got to really have your head in the game as to how you're going to manage those comments and do you read the comments? And that's why I went to a lot of social media influencers to talk to them too, because they do this every day. It's like, well, what do they do that keeps them protected from that negativity and that hostile environment that they're in? And at the same time, they get all the benefits of being a social media superstar. It's a trade-off. And that's what I talk about money as well. You can go big like Matt Rockman did with Seek.com, but he was on a plane 2 weeks out of every four.
Yeah.
He, in his own words, was unhealthy, and his wife called herself the Sikh widow because she had to go to all her events on her own. So I wanted to show the reality of building a big business and that it's not all, honey and roses.
Yeah. And this is something that, I'm sure it's because of my age in creating Yellow Shelf, but I have to do things aligned to my values and my needs. And yeah, it's all good and well to say, hey, you could create this to being X, Y, and Z, but at what cost does that come? And then do I really want it? And your book's very insightful, like really insightful on those stories of, like you said, different levels and different values that people have in building an online business. And look, there's more and more of this, obviously, in the current climate that we live in. The world is expensive to live in. And people, like you said, whether it's a side hustle or a genuine second business, or whatever you call it, people are doing this. So your insights are fabulous.
Oh, thanks, Joe. And look, I've been in marketing for 30 years and I've been a ghostwriter. I've written 7 ghost-written books for leading entrepreneurs. So, and my other 2 books that I wrote about online entrepreneurship, I've kind of taken all those ideas over the last 10, 15 years and packed it into this about, well, what's different now? What you did in 2010, you can't do now. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, what do you need to do now that's different? And also with AI and chat, there's not much you don't know anymore. You can find out
Yeah.
everything. But what that's what I tried to make the book was, well, what can't chat give us? Let's put that in the book. And that's the personal stories. That's the minutiae, about some of the strategies. Because I did want it to be a practical blueprint too, not just a inspirational dream, believe and
Yeah.
it'll happen. I wanted it to be like, follow this.
Yeah.
There's practical, templates that you can use as well.
Yeah. Yes, there's no manifesting anything here. It's just gritty hard work. work. Bernadette, you touched on it. I'm glad you mentioned you're a ghostwriter. You've got this really interesting story of having written, being a ghostwriter for many globally successful, like you said, entrepreneurs. What else do you need to share with us about you? Is there anything else? If we're curious about you, your work, you as an
Yeah.
author, tell us anything else.
Oh, Joe, look, I'm the ultimate slashy. I've had a portfolio career since I was like 12. I haven't worked in a proper job since I was, literally, 25. Um, I guess I run the School of Copywriting, the Australian School of Copywriting. That's my key, entity, if you like. And I've trained probably 20,000 people in the art of writing copy. So whether you're a freelance writer or a journalist or a business owner, you want to learn how to be better at writing copy, I do courses for people like that. Um, Along with speaking and emceeing and all kinds of things. But I've also been an actor, and I do say in the book, all the dots that you make of your life, all the things that you've done, they all come into play. And so if you're doing something and you're not quite sure why or whether it's working for you, I guess my message is just persist because in time, those dots will all join up and you go, oh, that's why I did that. And so, I mean, I'm at a certain age of my life, I'm a middle-aged woman. So I can look back on my career and go, you know what, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have done that. And
Yes.
so, I mention this now because people who are younger who might be in a hurry to get to where they're going, I'm not going to say slow down, but I'm going to say that everything you do, every job that you have, it, if you're not loving it right now,
Yeah.
it can be valuable.
Yeah. Wonderful advice, Bernadette. Bernadette, if we're watching anywhere in the world and we're curious about your book, curious about you, curious about Australian stories of, really successful, hardworking humans, how do we connect with you? I know you've got a website, but socials, do you want to point us in the direction of how we get curious?
Yeah, sure. So the website is bernadetteschwerdt.com.au, copyschool.com. Uh, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. is just my first name, last name. And there's some amazing resources on there. There's free samples, there's chapters, there's templates, there's you know, price lists. If you want to become a copywriter, you can find out how much you can get paid. And in fact, the book covers that too. If you want to be a social influencer, how much can you get paid? And you don't have to have tens of thousands of followers to get started. You can actually get started with just a couple of thousand. So there's a couple of ways in which you can find me, Joe.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll put that in the show notes to make it easy for the audience. Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us. All the best.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Joe.
Cheers.